Okay, so I don't like a lot of things. I don't like pineapple on pizza. I don't like spiders. I don't like people stepping on my toes. But God, I hate sensitive people. I cannot stand overly sensitive people. And I used to be one of those people when I was a kid growing up. But that was natural because when you grow up, when you're a kid, you go through certain events that make you stronger. Now, in my case, I didn't actually experience a whole lot, so I'm still a spoiled brat. But I do realize that life wasn't made to fit me, okay? Life was not made to fit me like a glove. I am not entitled to that sort of glorification. All right? When life comes at me, I can either complain about it and blame it on everybody else, or I can literally just deal with it, take the experience, make myself stronger, know what to do and what not to do next time, how to handle it. But the people I'm going to talk about today, they don't do that, okay? And you're going to see that, and you're seeing that more and more in our communities, especially in our younger communities. I would know because I'm 19 and I hang around a lot of these people all the time, and I swear to Christ, they are so annoying. These overly sensitive, spoon-fed bitches. I cannot stress it enough. I hate these people. But when growing up with these types of people, some of my cousins are like that. I'm not going to name them, but they know who they are. Anything you say or do, they'll throw it right back at you and make you seem like you're crazy. They're gaslighting you to the extreme. Now, you're probably not knowing where I'm going to go with this, but it's actually pretty stupid when I think about it. Okay, so I am in a server, a Discord server, based of a game based on a Roblox game that I play because I do a lot of roleplay, and a lot of my friends know this. So I got banned from this server, and it's a little stupid. I can't obviously go through the messages because I didn't save many of the messages, and I got banned, so I can't review them anymore. But this server, this roleplay server based on this Roblox game, oh my God, there were only a few people talking at once, and for a server like this, that's a lot. But almost everybody who was talking was like, you could tell they were either 10 years old, foreign, or just didn't get the concept of humor. Because anything that I would say concerning, like, and I'm not talking about political topics and overly controversial topics, sorry. I stumbled for a second there. But when stuff like that is talked about, people go nuts, obviously. But what I was talking about wasn't even that. There had actually been a mass ping, talking about the advertisement channel going bye-bye. And because people apparently were posting some not so okay stuff in the servers that they were recommending to the people in this server. And moderators couldn't keep track of that. Obviously, it's debatable on whether it's their job to keep track of the things that are in other people's servers. I would go as far to say as they should be, but their rules, their house, their rules, their everything. They get to decide whatever. And so a few people had a problem with it. Most of the people didn't. Most of these guys didn't. I was one of the people who were like skeptical about it. Like, it didn't actually bother me, but I was still going to say something about it. The Discord moderators of this server did not take kindly to that. In fact, they saw just about everything I was saying as rude and insulting, and I was sort of paying attention to this, and I was trying to be as sincere as possible while also still being myself. Treating things with kid gloves, trying not to be as rude and snarky. I mean, I was still joking around, and I was still making light jabs at the mods, but I was not insulting them. I was not being incredibly rude to them. It's more of like when you expose someone and then they say, "How rude!" No, I'm just calling you out, okay? And if and these same people, they say, if you have a problem with this new rule of ours, too bad. I mean, you can come talk to us about it. I actually, when somebody said that, they're like, okay, if you have a problem with this rule, you can come talk to us about it. And then I repeated that, I quoted that, put it in the same sentence, and then crossed out the rest of the sentence where I said, but also, we'll ignore you because it's already been decided. And the mods they were not happy with that. So, while I was still trying to dot people up with light humor, there were these people in the server. I don't remember the usernames, but the people in this server, one of them in particular, every time I made a light joke, like not even an offensive joke, but just like a light jab or a complex joke that you could define within a few words. These people took it literally. Every single time I said something that was even remotely like funny, in my opinion, they took it and they took it to offense, and they took it literally. And they're like, "How dare you be rude to these people? Oh my god!" And then when I pointed out that, hey, it's a joke, and they're like, "How am I supposed to know that it's a joke?" Okay, well, first of all, if you let people actually make jokes around you and you don't actually criticize them whenever they do so, and you understand the value of sarcasm, then you know what? You're not going to go after these people, and you're not going to say that they're being offensive, because you know what? They're not. Because any reasonable person will understand that some people try to be funny, and you can use anything you want. Humor is not for everyone. I get that. But to try and make it fit everyone like a glove, I am so sick of that. I am so tired of it. And I get it. I was choosing the wrong audience when I was making these jokes. And they weren't offensive. But apparently I was choosing the wrong audience because this server's full of 10-year-olds. Now, the moderators, one moderator in particular who takes his job seriously, as my friend once put it, eventually DM'd me about, I think I have it right here. So they DM'd me, and it didn't go very well. I got banned minutes later. So it starts off pretty normal. Could you maybe not be a jerk to our admins or anyone else for that matter? We all saw that message, right? You know the one. And for some context, somebody came and said, I hate this community. And I responded with, it hates you too. And then I deleted the message. and I knew people were going to see it, but that was the whole point. I could have left it up, but apparently that dude was a moderator, and other moderators had a problem with this. Of course, hypocrisy, flows in just about every single branch of whatever we like to talk about, whether it be politics or just going to school. I mean, there's always going to be hypocrisy. People are going to be hypocritical about literally every little thing because they don't like being called out. In this case, when I said to the person who said, I hate this community, when I said the community hates you right back, okay, this one person named Cloudy, I'm guessing he took offense to that because he's like, could you not be a jerk to our admins? Okay, but if you're going to apply that standard to me, how about you apply the same standard to the person who said it in the first place, that I hate this community? Because you're literally, why would an admin dunk on their community? If they and I don't think they were being serious, but if you want to apply the same standard that was applied to me, which was I was being serious and I was being an asshole, then they're being serious and they're being an asshole, and they're saying they hate their community, the community that they run an adminship over, which they probably shouldn't say that because, there's a lot of people in that community who are ultra sensitive and don't want to be seen as hated. And, there were other people saying that too, but nobody has a problem with that. But the second I make a joke and I'm like, okay, community hates you right back, apparently that's a little too much. And I even said this. And I was like, can I just play this off as humor that doesn't appeal to sensitive people? Can't I? And apparently not. I answered my own question. Apparently not, because I got banned minutes later. And there's a little gap here, right in the middle between no and huh. Because this guy said, do you want to get banned? And yes, I'm assuming their gender, he, she, I don't give a fuck. Okay, this is just an example. But they said, do you want to get banned? And then I said, no. And then they're like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Basically joking around with me, gaslighting me if they were being serious. I can't tell sometimes, just like any other person. And it's okay. Misunderstandings are common, especially when you're joking around with people. Clearing up that misunderstanding is part of what can make a joke work. Because if those people accept it as a joke after you explain it to them, then that's okay. I didn't think I needed to explain to people, but apparently I do because everyone's fucking on edge. And so I played along. I was like, oh, nothing at all. And they're like, mm-hmm. I'm like, the air just talks to me sometimes, just thin air just speaks to me and simple stuff. And they're like, listen, you're on thin ice with me right now. I'd be the nicest person in that server after today. Okay. I'm like, man, that bad, huh? he's like, I don't want to see you being an asshole to anyone. Am I clear? And it could be debated on whether I was being an asshole to these people, because I was not. I absolutely was not. All right. What I just discussed a moment ago, that was a joke. It was very clearly a joke. And a bunch of people they had a problem with it. But it was very clearly a joke. I wasn't even talking about something controversial like President Trump's hair or trans rights or whatever. I wasn't talking about that shit. I was literally making a statement that countered somebody else's statement because I thought, hey, it was probably a joke. And even if it wasn't a joke, that's insulting. So why am I not allowed to be insulting to the person who's being insulting? Why is that not allowed to happen? That's hypocrisy. But he said, I don't want to see you being an asshole to anyone. Am I clear? And I'm like, yes, mother. And then I thought about it for a moment, and I'm like, oh God, he's going to take that the wrong way. And I'm like, don't you dare hit me with that. And he's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, yes, that is literally the point. That is the whole fucking point of jokes. And it's so obvious that I am joking. How is it not obvious at this point that I am just trying to play around with people? I'm not even hurting them. But these people are taking it like I'm smacking them with something. And I'm not. I am absolutely not. I'm not smacking anybody with anything. I make horrible jokes on a daily basis. I am horrible to people. This is not even a tenth of that. Okay? I made sure that this wouldn't even be a tenth of that. Because I know these people are sensitive, and I know they just hate humor and fun, and they can't tolerate it unless it's the form of safe roleplay, safe inclusive roleplay. I hate that word, by the way, inclusivity. I hate it. I hate that word because it's stretched so far up somebody's ass until inclusivity means everyone, regardless of whether you think they're crazy or not, and you can't question them. And if you question them, you're a bigot or something. I hate that, and that's usually on the Democrat side. People know me as a conservative. I have conservative values, even though I don't live up to them very often. But I recognize that people on the left are fucking crazy. Now, I said chill. Please chill. I don't mean to wrong you, because I don't. Because it is so obvious. And then they respond with goodbye, and not even 5 minutes later, I'm booted from the server. Not even messages and DMs are okay. No, that triggered them. Yes, triggered them to the point of them kicking me from the server. I have no words when it comes to that. I literally sat there for a moment and I stared at the screen. I was wondering, what the fuck is wrong with you? What hurts you in your life so much that you don't understand the concept of light humor? Light humor. Not even controversial humor. Light humor. Who needs to tell these people that just because it's not funny to you, it doesn't mean it's not a joke, okay? It doesn't mean it's not humor. Just because you don't get it, just because it's not funny to you, does not mean that it's not a joke, okay? Because people get triggered by jokes all the time. Stand-up comedians get canceled all the time on Twitter and in their audiences, and there's always hecklers who are saying, you're being offensive. That is the entire fucking point. Humor, there is no limit to humor, and I hate people who try to put limits on humor. I hate that so much. I literally cannot stand it. And this could have been avoided if I just shut my mouth and not said anything. That is absolutely true. But I'm not like that. I use humor to get my point across. I use humor in everyday life, and it's literally how I contain myself. I'm always sarcastic. I'm serious sometimes, and people will know when I'm serious because I make a distinction between the two. I make a very clear distinction between the two. And these people say, how am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that you're being, you're being a jokester. You're not being serious. How do I know you're not trying to offend people? Why do you assume that everybody who says shit like that is trying to act in bad faith? Do you have literally no confidence in the human race that people actually can say these things, mean something else, and try and be funny about it? I mean, I don't understand these people. They either have to all be 10-year-olds, foreign, and just don't get the concept of humor, which that's not racist. That's not racist. Don't you dare come after me with that. But they're either foreign, don't understand the concept of humor, they're either 10 years old and have never been exposed to a joke or anything outside of their sensitive little bubble before, or I'm crazy. That's the third option. I'm crazy, and that's usually the conclusion with these people. There's hypocrisy, and hypocrisy knows no bounds. Then it's my fault, and then after that, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm so tired of that. And you don't just see that in servers like these where it's run by a bunch of 10-year-olds. You see that with adults too. You see that with adults, especially when they're confronted with controversial issues, because they can't stand a differing opinion. They hate it. They absolutely despise it. Like when people say Trump is a racist, for instance, I mean, I come back at that. I'm like, how is he a racist? And they're like, well, because he said that all Mexicans are racist, which he didn't, by the way. I mean, anyone who has any sense knows that he didn't. And I've watched the clip. I have watched that actual clip, so I know that what I'm saying is right. I have watched the clip. I have watched everything surrounding that and people who have reviewed it, and most people agree. The dude is not, he wasn't saying anything racist. Now, there's a bunch of other things that he said and done, whatever, and people get really triggered by these things, and then they take to social media, and they're like, oh my God, I cannot stand this. This is terrible. How dare he say something like that? And I keep seeing this more and more in my social circles. People can't say the things they want to say because someone feels offended by it. And I don't, and I get it. You know, there's some things that you just don't say to people, and that's been true to a long time. When you go into somebody's house, you're not going to call their mother fat. Okay, that's just human decency. All right. And even if you do, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if your friend or whoever whoever invited you to their house is taking it the wrong way. But in this case, everything is a trigger. Everything that isn't pure-hearted kindness with no jokes whatsoever is a trigger, because people don't know the difference anymore. And and I say we as in people who are oversensitive. People who are oversensitive, they take jokes, pretend they don't exist, and then they say, hey, if you make this joke and it's offensive even in the least, it's not a joke, and you should be canceled for it. I completely disagree with that. That's fucking retarded. I mean, people who make jokes online, people who use humor and they say maybe accidentally the wrong thing, get their lives destroyed in this day and age. You go on Twitter, you see that all the time. Of course, Twitter is a cesspool of human debris. Okay, it's basically all the worst people on one social media platform. It's a bunch of celebrities trying to virtue signal and saying, hey, I'm wearing masks, and you all should wear masks too because I know the science and you don't, or something like that. or this president is terrible, and if you follow him, I don't want you following me because I'm pure-hearted and I'm better than you. I wish people would cut the shit. Okay? Jokes are jokes, and it's time we defined what a joke is. It's time we very seriously defined what jokes can be. In my definition of a joke, there's no bounds. If you do not mean it, it is a joke. If you do not mean it and you do it with the sole purpose of being funny, and somebody, doesn't matter who, somebody gets the joke and laughs along with you, then it's a joke. It doesn't matter if 99% of the world gets offended with what you said. If you mean it to be a joke, then it's a joke. It might be a bad joke, might be a joke that not everyone takes very well, but it is a joke. You people need to get over yourselves. Okay? And I honestly, I didn't know what I was going to say. When I got my camera, got my microphone, and I came down here, I had no clue what I was going to say about this. But now that I'm talking about it, I can't stop talking about it because it's so annoying, and I see it. I see it everywhere. I mean, Jesus, I lost friends for voting for President Trump. What happened to individual responsibility, for instance, or the right to have an opinion? What happened? Why cannot we not play around anymore? Why can we not play around with young people in servers and not expect to get completely banned instantly? Why? What happened? What made it so that these people are so sensitive that anything that they don't like is considered offensive? Anything that they don't like is considered offensive to everybody and should be taken down or should be prosecuted by law in the extreme cases. How did it get to that? Because I genuinely do not know. I'm old enough to remember that it was not always this way. We didn't always act like this. Okay? I mean, Jesus, even in the early 2000s, when all this shit started getting rolling, even 2010, 11, 12, it was not this bad. This is terrible. And what I showed you today is just the tiniest, most insignificant example that hardly relates to anything I'm saying right now, because it is very small. It doesn't actually matter all that much, and I can completely live without this server, and I can completely live without the people in this server. But when I keep seeing this shit, and I keep seeing it everywhere, I hate it. I can't stand it. It seems like everyone's opinions matter except ours. The people who make the jokes and the people who have humor in mind and know their audience. It seems that our opinions don't matter. The same way that trans people say cis white people's opinions don't matter. Hypocrisy is hypocrisy. Racism is still racism, folks. It's not crunching down on people from a higher power. That's not what racism is. If sexism is discrimination based on sex, then race is discrimination based on race. And hypocrisy is taking what somebody says and then doing the same thing while criticizing them for doing that. Why do we keep redefining these terms just because we don't like them? I understand this turned into a full-blown rant about things that don't even relate to what I was saying earlier. But they all connect, one way or another. This is how sensitive people are made. And I would show you so many other things, but but I was seeing this everywhere. And I'm an asshole. I'm a complete asshole. This was unwarranted. I'm like one of the worst people online that you can come across. I'm like someone who would live on 4chan. And yet, at the same time, why? Why do I have to watch myself around these people? Why is it my fault? Why is it that when I come across a server full of sensitive people, or when I come across a community full of people that can't take jokes or are really upset by controversial topics, why do I have to watch myself? Why is it me that needs to stop and think and be like, oh, well, it'd be better if I didn't say that and I shut up? You could argue that's human decency. But I argue it's just censoring people you don't like. Censoring people you don't agree with. And I hate it. I can't stand it. I wish there was less of it. I wish there was more people who were kind and yet understood that the value of humor. My grandmother, for instance, is the kindest person you'll ever meet. And yet, I joke and I swear around her, and she gets it. It's the way I express myself. And we talk about, gay people and trans people as it's their way, it's their identity, it's their way to express myself. Why is my way to express myself not important? Where's the equity in that? I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't think I could be made to understand by anyone on the far left or Democrat side, or just people who just feel like everything somebody says is a landmine. I'm so tired of it. I'm so very tired of it. And I'm the laziest, most unconservative conservative that you will ever meet. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I procrastinate. I live off my family. I'm the laziest son of a bitch you will ever meet who doesn't stand up to any conservative values, but realizes that they are the right thing to follow. I mean, you can follow whatever you want. You can follow whatever party you want. But when they suddenly, are shown to not actually care about the people they claim to represent, I mean, don't come crying to me. Okay? I'm so done with this. I'm so done having to step on landmines that weren't even mine to step on, to take hits that weren't meant for me because somebody else is enraged. I'm just done. I hate it. I cannot stand it. That's really all I have to say. Look, grow a thicker skin. I know it's difficult. I know you might not want to. It might seem like everyone's trying to hate on you, and everyone's trying to beat up on you, and life is unfair. Well, you know what? We're all assigned to that same principle. Life is unfair. It doesn't have to be unfair, but it just so happens that it is. Because of that, you gotta toughen up. You got to ignore what people say to you sometimes. Water off a duck's back. Come on. You just have to. If we want to live in a society where we don't cancel people, ruin their lives over words, then that has to be the first step. We have to learn to take things as they are, and learn whether it's worth getting upset over, or not upset, and chilling out, lessening the restraints, being loose, loosen up. I mean, basically, we have to learn that. Otherwise, this society is going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Thank you for listening to my rant.